Good morning, all. In our previous lectures, we have discussed about informal design guidelines, then about functional dependencies, inference rules, then about minimal cover, equivalence of functional dependencies, and later about the different normal forms, first, second, third, and BCNF. And the last class, we have seen some examples of how to check whether given a set of functional dependencies, how to find the key of the schema as well as to which normal form it belongs, etc. Now, in today's class, we will be looking into the properties of relational decompositions. That means for example, when you check a given database schema, if you check and you find out that it is violating some normal form conditions. For example, a relation schema is in third normal form but not in BCNF. You have some algorithms to decompose that into separate or individual relational schemas. Let R is a relational schema with given set of attributes. You can decompose that into R1, R2, Rn, n decomposed relations. The algorithm for that decomposition we'll just see after at the end of this class. Before that, given a database schema and a decomposed set of relation schemas, we want to check whether the decomposed relations satisfy set of desirable properties or not. The properties of relational decomposition, that is what we are going to see. Decomposition is a tool to eliminate redundancy, but it must ensure recovery of original relations from the decomposed relations. The desirable properties of decomposition, that is to recover the original relation instances from the decomposed one. The decomposed relation should possess some properties. First one is lossless join decomposition. Guarantees that no spurious tuples are generated when a natural join is applied to the relations in the decomposition. This we have discussed in the previous classes also. Given a relational instance, if you divide that or decompose that instance into two with a common attribute or something, and if you take the natural join back again, then the resulting instance should not contain any spurious tuple. Therefore, this lossless join decomposition property that guarantees no spurious tuple will be generated. And second property that is desirable is dependency. Is not desirable; it is required. Dependency preserving decompositions. Therefore, two properties: lossless join decomposition and dependency preserving. As we all know, what is dependency preserving decomposition? An FD is a constraint, as you know, an FD is a constraint on the database. Hence, all FDs needs to be preserved after decomposition of relation R into R1, R2, Rn. That is, an FD X determines Y in F should appear directly in schema Ri, or it could be inferred from dependencies that appear in Ri. That is, you have a set of decomposed relations, let be R1, R2 up to Rn, n decomposed relations. A given FD X determines Y, which is present in the original schema, should be present somewhere. Should be present means it should be either present directly or it could be inferred from the dependencies that appear in the individual subdivided database schemas. That is what the dependency preserving decomposition. First one is lossless join decomposition, second is dependency preserving decompositions. These we will see more details into this. Lossless join property of decomposition. A decomposition of a decomposition D R1, R2, Rn of R has a lossless join property with respect to the set of dependencies F on R if every state small r of R that satisfies the following conditions. Then the projection of R1 of R natural join, projection of R to R, etc. up to R and R should result in R, not more than R or less than R. This is a relational instance. then the projection of individual projection of the relation instance should result in, if you take natural join of all these things, it should result in R, nothing more than that, the R itself, relation instance itself. There is an theorem which will be helpful to determine whether a binary decomposition, let R is a relational schema, it is divided into two relation schemas R1 and R2. Whether this decomposition, a binary decomposition, is lossless or not, we have an easy method to check. That this theorem will help for that. Let R be a relation and F be set of dependencies that hold over R. The decomposition of R into relations with attributes R1 and R2 is lossless if and only if F closure contain either the FTs R1 intersection R2 determines R1 or R1 intersection R2 determine R2. What do you mean by R1 intersection R2? R1 is the attribute set. R2 is attribute set. Therefore, R1 intersection R2, attribute sets of R1 relation first relation, attributes of the second relation. Intersection of that is the common attribute. The common attribute determines R1, or common attribute, the attribute in common between these two relations determines R2. Or in other words, attribute common to R1 and R2 must be a key of either R1 or R2. If this condition is satisfied, then what you can say, this decomposition is a lossless joint decomposition. For example, if we have a relation schema RABC and we divide it into AB and BC, what is the attribute in common? Attribute in common is B. AB and BC, attribute is in common is B. Then B must be a key of either the first relation, that is AB, or in the second relation, that is BC. This is an easy test for lossless joint decomposition. But if the decomposition contains number of such schemas, then this is not the algorithm. We have another algorithm for that. Okay. Testing lossless joint property, we will be looking into an algorithm for this. Input is a relation R, a decomposition D R1, R2, Rn of R, and set F of functional dependencies. This is our input, a decomposed set of relation schemas. Then what's the algorithm here is, we'll be creating a matrix S with one row I for each relation Ri. There is one row. For example, this relation, decomposed relations are containing three relations. Let be R1, R2, R3, three rows. And what's the number of columns? And one column J for each attribute Aj in R. In the original relation schema, if there are 6 attributes, then the S matrix should be having 6 columns and 3 rows. If the number of relations, decomposed relation is 3, then 3 rows, number of columns is equal to the number of attributes in the original relation schema R. Okay. Then set Sij is equal to Bij, that is first row, what is the values? B11, second column B12, like that, initialize. Similarly, second row B21, B22, like that. That is initialize. Sij is initialized with these values, a B symbol. Each column, each cell having an Ij equivalent to that B, a row and column. For each row I representing relation Ri, what you have to do is, for each column J representing attribute Aj, if relation Ri includes attribute Aj, then set Sij is equal to Aj. What is here is, the matrix is initially initialized with B symbols, B11 up to B how many rows and how many attributes. That That is what the initialization of b value with b symbols. Now replace some of the b symbols with a symbols. What is that one? For each row representing relation schema, for each relational schema, let be for each, like for example R, the row corresponding to the first relation, what are all the attributes in the relation, corresponding attribute positions. What you have to do, you have to replace that b symbols with a symbols. If the first attribute, then it is a1, second attribute it is small a2, final attribute a, let be if it is n such a n, like that. You have to replace the a and b symbols with a symbols. Now corresponding to each relation, then now the row values will be set with a values. That is what the resulting Sij. Now for each fd x determines y in f do. Now we have set of fd's also. X determines y is an fd. For all rows in S having same symbol in column with respect to x attribute, x means x determines y is the fd, then corresponding to x, what will be there? There will be some a values. If two rows having a values same, and then the corresponding to y attribute, there will be some y, there will be some a attributes. If one of the cell is having that a attribute, a symbol, then that a symbol is used to be placed in the other columns too. That is what the algorithm says. With an example it will be more clear. For all rows in S having the same symbol in the column with respect to x attribute do, if any of the rows has a symbol in the column with respect to y attribute, then set all other rows with the same a symbol with respect to y in all columns, else some b columns will be copied into that. For this algorithm is very simple one. With an example it will be more clear. Now what is there is, we will be creating a matrix initialized with the b symbols corresponding to each attribute in the relations. We will set the values as a values, then corresponding with each fd's, what we will do is, if two rows having the same as x value, we will make that y value also be the same. That's all the algorithm. Y value also be the same. That is what the algorithm do. And finally, if a row is made entirely of a symbols, then the given relation decomposition has a lossless join property. That is what the algorithm says. That is complete. After these operations, what you have to get is a row with complete a symbols. If so, such a row exists, then you can say that decomposition is lossless join decomposition. Consider this example. Let R be e number, e name, p number, p name, p location, hours. This schema we have already seen in previous examples. E number, e name, p number, p name, p location, hours be a relation schema, and it is decomposed into three relations: R1 e number, e name, R2 p number, p name, p location, and R3 e number, p number, hours. And we are also given with set of fd's also. Fd's are e number determines e name, p number determines p name, p location, e number, p number together determine hours. These are the three fd's. Therefore, what is our objective here is to check whether this decomposition is a lossless join decomposition. For that, what is the matrix to be formed? Here there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attributes. How many columns here in the S matrix? There should be 6 columns. How many rows? Here we have 3 decomposed relations, then 3 rows and 6 columns. A matrix. What is the values to be initialized? All rows and columns will be initialized with b symbols. That is what the decompose. This is what the this is corresponding to row 1, b1, b12 up to b16, b21 up to b26, b31 up to 3 rows correspond to 3 decomposed relations attributes. Now what is to be changed based on this one? Now e number, e name. Therefore, this is the row corresponding to the first relation. First attribute is B11 should be replaced with A1 because A1 is the first attribute. Now the second attribute is this is A1, this is A2, A3, etc. Now corresponding to R1, this become A1, A2 because E number, E name. Now it is first at A1, B11 is replaced with A1, B12 is replaced with A2. The corresponding, this is the relation, decomposed relation. R2 corresponding to R2, the row corresponding is R2, this is R2, where P number, what is the number? A3, P name A4, P location A5. Now it is A3, A4, A5. Replace corresponding B symbol. Corresponding to this R3, E number. E number is the first R, A1. P number is the third attribute, therefore A1, A3. Then next is hours. Hours is A6. Therefore, this is what the first step of the operation based on the relation, decomposed relation given, and the number of attribute as well as number of relations. We have formed a S matrix with the corresponding A as well as B values. Initialized with B values, now replace some of the B values with the A values corresponding to the attributes in the decomposed relations. A1, A2, here it is A3, A4, A5, and A1, A3, that determines A1, A3, A6. That's what the third one. Now corresponding to the FDs, you have to replace some of the B symbols too. For example, E number determines E name. This is the first FD. Now you can see that A1 E number is the first attribute. When you check the rows, there are two rows having the same A value, that is A1 as well as A2. Now what is the algorithm says? Here these are the X values where A symbol is present. Now two rows having A value. Now what is to be do? Then corresponding to the Y is E name. FD is E number determines E name. One of the row contains an A value, A symbol. What to do? The algorithm says replace the other row where this X value is an A symbol. Replace the Y value corresponding A symbol. Now B23 is to be replaced with A2. That's what the algorithm says. And corresponding to the next FD, P number determines P name, P location. What is P number? P number is the third attribute. Therefore, these two rows are having the same X values, that is A3, A3. Now the corresponding to the Y, one of the row is having A4, other row is having A5, other column is having A5. These two symbols are to be, because these are the two rows where the A symbols are the same. Then these two values also to be B34 as well as 35 to be replaced with A4 as well as A5. And similarly for this also, if such a change is required, then we have to change. Now we will look and once again. Now this is where we reached after the operation. Now change B symbol values where the symbol with respect to X attributes are the same. Now corresponding in the first FD, E number, E name, we have changed this B32 also to A2. And corresponding to this FD, second P number determines P name, P location. This is A3. Two rows having A3, then A4, A5 are the A symbols present corresponding to the Y attributes. Then replace B34 as well as B35 to A4, A5. And what about this one? E number is the first one, and P number is the third one. There is no rows having A1, A3. A1, A3 as such is not there. Therefore, you cannot change anything. But before that itself, this R3 row now completely become A symbols only. A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6. This is what you got. Now the corresponding row R, we got all A symbols. This is high. This decomposition of relation schema R into three relation in schemas R1, R2, R3 with these attributes R. This decomposition is a lossless join decomposition because you got a row with complete A symbols. Okay. Now we'll look into dependency preserving property of decomposition. Lossless joint decomposition, which guarantees no spurious tuple. Generation of new spurious tuple is over. Now next is dependency preserving property of decomposition. And FD is a constraint on the database. Hence, all FDs needs to be preserved after decomposition of relation R into R1, R2, Rn. And FD X determines Y specified in F should appear directly in schema Ri, or it could be inferred from dependencies that appear in some Ri. What is the meaning of that one? Here the property that is required is a decomposition of R into R1, R2 up to Rn is dependency preserving with respect to F if union of projections of F means the dependencies on each Ri in D is equivalent to F, that is pi of R1. R1 is a decomposed relation, F means dependencies. Therefore, what do you mean by pi of R1F? Pi of R1F is you have a set of dependencies out of which are all the FDs that corresponding to R1. Similarly, which are our FDs that can be connected with relation decomposition. This must be a union symbol, strong. I will be changing in the original, in new PDF. I will be changing this. The projection of F on Ri on all FDs in F closure, not just FD, where all attribute of the projection of F on Ri, all FDs in F closure, not in just F. You will see this statement with an example, then only it will be more clear. Dependency preserving property of decomposition, an example. Let us consider this relation R ABC decomposed into R1 AB and R2 BC. Let F is A determines B, B determines C, and C determines A. Now the decomposition is R1 with A and B attribute, R2 with B and C attribute. What are the FDs that correspond to R1? Here there is an FD A determines B. This will be definitely to this relation, and there is an FD B determines C, that is also to the second relation. And what about C determines A? C determines A. C is not in this subdivision, and A is not in this decomposition. Therefore, what about C determines A? Whether C determines A, this FD is preserved in this decomposition, we want to check. That is, question is AB, dependency AB is there in the first decomposition because the attributes are there. BC is there in the second decomposition. Okay. What about C determines A? This is not as such in the decomposition because C is an attribute which is not in this here. A is an attribute which is not in this decomposition. Whether we want to check whether C determines A, FD, this is a dependency preserving decomposition or not. Here the issue here is what I told to you is the previous slide. This pi of R1 of F means those FDs which are related to the decomposed set of attributes R1. Actually, this is not just from F. It should be from the F closure, not from just F. If it is from F, you can say that AB only belongs to the FD which belongs to R. Actually, this F closure contains other FDs too. By applying the inference rule 3, 4, 5, etc., you can say that A determines B and B determines C. Then what is the other FD that come into this inferred FD? A determines C. That is another FD which will come here. That is A determines B, B determines. By applying the transitive rule, you can say A determines C will also. Now a fourth FD, A determines C, will come here. Now B determines C, C determines A. Therefore B determine A will also come. That is A determine B is there, then B determines C is there. A is also. Therefore, in effect, you can say that what are the FDs? This was the question. Actually, F closure contain these three FDs, the original one, plus all FDs inferred from here. What are the FDs inferred? A determines B, B determines, therefore A determines C will also come. B determines C, C determines A, therefore B determines A will come. Similarly, other also. Therefore, what are the FDs in F closure is the original 3 plus A determines B, C determines B, B determines A. These are the FDs. So, in that sense, those FDs in the decomposed one will be A determines B as well as B determines A. Similarly, those FDs in the second decomposition B, C will be B determines C, this one second one, as well as C determines B. Now the union of A determines B, B determines A determines B, and B determines A, plus B determines C and C determines B. Okay, this is a union I have to check. Therefore, this FR1, the functional dependencies that belong to the decomposed relation, this will be AB as well as B determines A, and FR2 will be these two. Now you can say the closure of this is also should be union. I'll change this one. This union of this closure will contain what? That will contain because A determines B. What do you want? C determines A. The union of these four dependencies, when you take the closure, you have a C. What do you want? C determines A. C determines A will be obtained. C determines B is there, and B determines A is there in this one. Therefore, what you can infer from that? C determines A. You can infer that is C determines B is here, and B determines A. If you take union and closure, this C determines A will be there in the this one. Therefore, this decomposition RABC decomposed into R1AB as well as R2BC is a dependency preserving decomposition, because the FD C determines A will be obtained in this union, not the intersection. It's union of FR1 and FR2. What is FR1? Those dependencies that comes from the F closure, not just from F, and which belongs to the decomposed set R1, and FR2 means those dependencies which are taken from F closure, the original functional dependencies closure, which are belonging to the attribute. Therefore, you cannot have an FD with an attribute which is not in this set. Also, you cannot have an FD with an attribute which is not in this R1 set. That is not possible, but it should be taken from the closure set, not from the F set. If you take the union, this is not intersection, it is union. This will be then only you can say whether the dependency preserving property satisfies or not. We will see one more example. This is the testing lossless join, the first property. Therefore, two properties, lossless join property and dependency preserving properties. The lossless join property, if it is a binary decomposition, you can apply that theorem. That theorem says that the attribute which is in common must be a key for either of the relation, then it is okay. Otherwise, you have to form that matrix and then do the operations of replacing B symbols with A symbols. We'll look into the question number 11 of assignment 3, whether the lossless join property is being satisfied by this decomposition or not. Given R A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, the functional dependencies, let be A1 determines A2, A4, and A4 determines A5. Check if the decomposition R1, R2, A1, A2, A3, R2 is A1, A4, and R3 is A2, A4, A5 is lossless. Here 3 decomposed relations, therefore you have to do this by using that algorithm. What is that algorithm? You have to form a matrix. What is the number of columns of the matrix? There are 5 attributes, 5 columns. What is the number of rows? Number of rows are 3, because 3 decompose relations, and all with B symbols. Now, how many of B symbol, which are the B symbols to be replaced with A symbols because of these relations R1, R2? The first attribute corresponding to this one, you should be replace B11 with A1. Second row, first row also A2, A3, first row. Similarly, second row, first attribute corresponding to the first attribute as well as the fourth attribute, B symbol should be replaced with A symbol, A1 as well as A4. Similarly, for the third row, it should be second column, fourth column, and fifth column to be replaced with A2, A4, and like this is what. These are the attributes. Correspondingly, it was B1, B11, B12. These 3 are replaced with A1 because of this relation. 2 steps has been done as a single step. Now the A symbol substituted with A symbols, A1, A2, A3 corresponding to this decomposition. Corresponding to this one, A1 as well as A4, and corresponding to this R3 should be A2, A4 and A5. Then what is to be done next? Since the FD here is A1 determines A2, A4, this right hand side having 2 attributes, therefore you can decompose it into, by applying the decomposition rule, it is A1 determines A2 as well as A1 determines A4. First FD, let us consider A1 determines A2. A1 determines A2 if you take 2 rows having A symbols. For what to do? This B22 also should be replaced with this A2. And A1 determines A4 means A1 determines A4. This is A1. These rows having A1. Therefore, A4 is the attribute that is in the right Y side. X determines Y is an FD. Then Y side, corresponding to Y side, there is an A symbol. If so, then B14, because these are the rows with same X values or A symbols. This is the Y attribute, corresponding to that there is an A symbol, A4. This B14 should also be replaced to A4. And now corresponding to the next FD, next FD is A4 determines A5. A4 determines A5 means these 2. Now this is also A4. A4 determines A5 means B25 as well as B315 should be replaced with A5, because of these 3 rows having the same A symbol, X values. The Y corresponding to Y attribute, there is an A5. If it's so, then replace these 2 with A4. Now the resulting rows is like this. That is, you got a row completely with A symbol. Therefore, this decomposition is a lossless joint decomposition. That is, it has been written what are the things done. Corresponding to A1, A2, change B22 to A2. And similarly, FD A1 determines A4, change B14 with the A4. Now by the FD A4 determines, change B25 and B15 to A5. That is what the change we have made from the B symbols. Now you got a row with completely A symbol. That is why this relation decomposition is a lossless joint decomposition. Now we'll be looking into lossless joint decomposition into BCNF schemes. Actually, this decomposition of a relation into the other schemes like BCNF decomposition or 3NF decomposition is not part of your syllabus. Actually, there are algorithms for decomposition. What you have checked is you are given with the decomposition whether the desirable properties of lossless join as well as dependency preserving is being satisfied or not, that we checked. So far we have not checked or not look into how to decompose the relation. If an FD is violated, a particular normal form is being violated, how to decompose that into set of sub relations. So decompose R1, R2, Rn. That decomposition rule is not in the syllabus, but just we will see one such decomposition, how the decomposition are to understand how the decomposition are to be done. For that purpose only, with an example we'll do. Before that, what is the rule? We will say what is the rule. Let R be a relation schema with set of dependencies F. Suppose R is not in BCNF. Let X subset of R, X attribute, subset of R. R is our original set of attributes, and A be a single attribute in R, and X determines A be an FD that causes violation of BCNF. Then the rule says decompose R into R minus A. R minus A means this is the FD. X determines A is the FD which violates the BCNF norms. Then what the decomposition here says is that the right hand side of the FD, right hand side, let be an attribute. You form a relation with the original set of attribute minus this right hand side, and a new decomposed relation with the attribute X as well as the Y. That is, this is the FD which cause violation. X determines A. Therefore, you form a relation with XA, a decomposed relation R2 with XA. And what is the original R1? R1, from the original R1, you eliminate or you subtract or remove one of the attribute. What is that attribute to be removed? To be removed is the right hand side of the FD which causes violation. Here X determines A is an FD which causes violation. What is the new set of relations are the original R with the elimination of elimination of the attribute on the right hand side of the FD, that is the A attribute, as well as new decomposed relation R2 with XA as the attributes. Now let's see an example. If either R minus A, that is a decomposed relation, or XA is not in BCNF, decompose them further by recursive application of this algorithm. This is the algorithm, that is XA as well as R minus A, and again check whether these decomposed relations are in BCNF. If not, you apply this algorithm again and again until R decompose. We will see an example. Example is given relation schema R A B C D for the following FDs given below. Identify the candidate keys. Identify the best normal form. If R is not in BCNF, decompose into BCNF relations. AB determines C is an FD. AB determines D is another FD. C determines A is another FD. D determines B is another FD. What is the key of this relation? Key of this relation is you take the closure. If you take the single attribute closure, here the FDs are C as well as D. If you take the closure of C, you will get C as well as A, C as well as A, nothing more than that. If you take D closure, you will get D as well as B, nothing more than that. For what is the key algorithm you want? You must take the minimal set of attributes which the closure contain all the attributes. Closure contain all the attributes, but it can functionally determine all other attributes that can act as a key. That is the meaning. For C cannot be act alone as a key. D cannot act alone as a key. Whatever the combination CD can be a key, because CD closure will be containing A, B, C, D. Therefore, CD together can be a key. Similarly, what about AB? If you take AB closure, A, B as well as C will come, and also D. Therefore, AB is also a possible key. Therefore, you got two keys, AB, now CD. What about AC? AC means AC closure will be containing A as well as C, A as well as C. Because of AC closure, no change. Similarly, AC closure as well as BD closure, you cannot be key, because that will be AB AC closure will be not. Similarly, other BC closure, if you take BC closure, BC, if you take BC closure, BC, because of C, A will also come. Now all other attributes also will come, because BC closure will be containing B as well as C and A. Because of AB, D will also come. Similarly, AD will also. Therefore, these four attribute combination, AB from this, CD from this, as well as BC. If you take closure of this, you will get ABCD. If you take a closure of AD, also you will get ABCD. These four attribute combination are the candidate keys. Again, candidates keys are minimal super keys. Super key is one set of attribute which can uniquely identify a row, a tuple in a relation. Whereas candidates keys are minimal super keys. Elimination of any of the attribute. For example, from A, B, if we eliminate B, that is A alone cannot be a key of this relation. Similarly, C, D, if you delete D, C cannot be a. That is what the definition of candidate keys. I have asked this question, what is the candidate key? Many of you answered with wrong answer. That is why I am repeating again. Candidate keys are minimal super keys. There may be more than one candidate key. What is primary key means out of these 4 keys, one which is selected as the primary key of this here A, B, C, D, B, C as well as A, D can act as keys. Okay, primary keys. These are the keys. Now, what is the normal form of the relation? Normal form of the relation, let us take A, B as the key. If A, B as the key, these two FDs is not violating because the X side is the key itself. Therefore, these two FDs no problem. What about C determines A? C determines A. A is the right hand side which is a part of key. Similarly, this FD B is the right hand side which is a part of key. For this is not violating the normal form conditions. That means there is no transitive dependency. That is why this relation schema is in third normal form but not in BCNF because of C determines A. C alone is not a key as well as D alone is not a key. Because of that, because of these two FDs, this relation schema is in third normal form. Why third normal form? There is no partial dependency here. What is there is there are dependencies. C determines A as well as D determines B. Here the right hand side is part of the key. That is why this schema is in third normal form but not in BCNF because BCNF requires the mandatory condition that all the FDs X determines A, the X should be a key of that relation. Here in this 2-1, C as well as D, they are not keys alone. That is why it is violating the normal form conditions. Therefore, this is in third normal form, not in BCNF. Now we want to decompose that. How to decompose this one? For example, C determines A is the FD which is causing violation. What is the decomposition? The decomposition should be CA, a new relation. What is A out of the ABCD? Which attribute to be removed? Right hand side. CA is C determines A is the FD which causing the violation. In that case, A should be removed. Remaining is BCD. Therefore, R1 BCD as well as R2 CA. These are the decomposed relations. What about the dependency preserving property? What about the lossless join property? This is lossless join because C is an attribute which is in common. As C determines A is an FD which is available. That is why C is a key of R2. Therefore, lossless join property is satisfied. What about the other property? And the property is dependency preserving. You have a dependency AB determines C. Here decomposed relation as such is not having D because the decomposed relation is BCD one, another one is AC or CA. Here AB as such is not in the decomposed relation. Therefore, AB determines C as well as AB determines C. These FDs are not being in the newly formed newly formed relations. That is why this decomposition is not a dependency preserving decomposition, but it is a lossless join decomposition. R is not okay. Decomposed into R1. Let us take C determines A. R is decomposed into R1, BCD as well as B2. This decomposition is not dependency preserving as A, B determines C as well as AB determines C are not being protected. Now, okay, what about the algorithm says? After decomposition, check whether the decomposition is in BCNF or not. Now, R1, BCD, these are the attributes. What are the FDs that will come there? This FD will go to the second relation. D determines B, that is the only FD that will be coming into the new relation R1, BCD. That is R1, BCD is a relation. The FD which is applicable here is D determines B. D determines B. What is a key here? Key is D alone cannot be a key. Therefore, what is a key? CD can be a key because C is not in the FD. The FD should be, the key should functionally determine all other attributes. If you take D, D will be having D and B attributes only. Therefore, what is required is CD. CD is a key. If CD is a key, what about the FD? This is a partial dependency. Therefore, again, this is an FD which causes violation. That is what you have to do. You have to break or decompose the relation again. What's the decomposition? Out of the BCD, D determines B is then FD which causes violation. Therefore, what is new relation? B to be eliminated. Now, what is BD is a new relation as well as B removed, that is CD. For the new decomposed relations, original AC or CA, then B is removed and a new relation BD is formed as well as CD. For the relation schema, still R is not in BCNF because of the DB. The decomposed relation are into D. Therefore, new decomposed relation is AC, original one, B is removed and formed in BD as well as CD. Therefore, decomposition of AC, BD and CD is all are in BCNF. This is what decomposition of a relation schema into BCNF. Therefore, decomposition to BCNF is the what is the algorithm. What we have seen is a decomposition of relational schema into BCNF decomposition. Similarly, there are algorithms for decomposition of a schema into 3NF. For that, minimal cover etc. are to be taken. Algorithm is almost similar, but it is not mentioned in your syllabus. This is also not mentioned in your syllabus. Still, academic purpose. Otherwise, it is not complete because you have learned how to check whether a decomposition is lossless as well as dependency preserving. But still, now only we discussed how to decompose a relation into a BCNF, at least BCNF. The algorithm for 3NF decomposition is different one. You can decompose anyway, but here the rule is an FD which causes violation. Let be X determines A is an FD which causes violation. Then what you have to do is you remove this attribute A, the right hand side of the FD which causes violation, from the original set of attribute and form a new relation with X as well as A. And two, these are the two, this removed one plus the other which formed this is the decomposition, and check whether the newly formed relations belongs to BCNF or not. If not, then apply this algorithm and again you just check this example, then it will be more clear. For these are the topic that to be discussed in fourth module. With this we complete the discussion of fourth module, the database design. Our objective was, given a database schema, you want to form a new decomposed schema so that the redundancy is minimum. All the normal forms that describes how to eliminate redundancy to the minimum, not to eliminate, how to reduce. Not to eliminate is a word that cannot be used. Only thing is you can reduce the redundancy to the maximum. Still there are other normal forms that is out of scope of our syllabus. That is why we are not. There are fourth normal form with multi-value dependency, fifth normal form with joint dependency, etc. are also in the textbook. For you may study in your higher studies, during the higher studies. Okay. Thank you all. This is completion of the fourth module, and next video lecture we will be looking into the fifth module topics. Thank you all once again.